This video right here is going to be the last video you need to watch when it comes to fat loss, when it comes to getting stronger, when it comes to getting leaner and building the physique that you want. By the time you watch this video all the way to the end, you will have a complete understanding of what you need to do and actionable steps that you can take and apply to your life like immediately in order to reduce body fat and get in the best shape of your life. If this is your first time on my channel, first of all, welcome. Make sure that you watch this video all the way through. And if you vibe, subscribe. That's how we do it. So like I said, I'm going to give you the goods. I'm going to give you everything you need to know. And I'm going to keep it very simple. I'm not going to use a bunch of industry jargon. I'm not going to give you a bunch of complex or complicated concepts. I'm going to give it to you as simple as possible. Everything that you need to know and everything that you need to do in order to successfully lose body fat, all right, in a way that's sustainable so you can maintain it long term. Now, look, you might be thinking, why do I need to lose body fat? Let me tell you something. Reducing body fat should be your number one fitness goal because excess body fat is responsible for so many detrimental health issues. I mean, we're talking about everything from heart disease to diabetes. Like excess body fat plays a role in that, but not just your physical. It can also do a number on your mental because if you're holding on to excess body fat, there's a chance that your hormones are out of balance. And then on top of that, you look in the mirror and you don't feel like yourself because you don't look like yourself. You're likely sluggish, you're probably depressed, and all you need to do is apply what I'm about to tell you right now consistently, day after day in your life, and I promise you, you will start to feel better, you will start to look better, and everything, your entire outlook on life is going to change. No, it's not just about having six-pack abs. It's not just about having a ripped physique. That's like a perk. You know what I'm saying? But the real benefit that you get from this is taking control of your life. Developing discipline. These are all a byproduct of making the primary focus of your fitness journey reducing body fat. So without any further ado, why don't we get into the goods? Here are the 5 immutable laws to fat loss. Rule number 1, weight loss does not equal fat loss. I have to make that the first one because most people's fitness goal is around losing weight. And I'm not saying this to shit on weight loss as a fitness goal. I want you to understand that the scale, measuring your weight, is not the best metric that you want to measure for success when it comes to fat loss. The biggest reason for this is because your scale weight is literally mass versus gravity. And when you think about the makeup of the human body, it's not just body fat. You're talking about skeletal muscle. We're talking about your bones. We're talking about, yes, subcutaneous fat. We're also talking about organs. We're talking about water weight. All of those things contribute to the number you see on the scale. So yes, if you're carrying a bunch of body fat, then you can use a scale to say, oh, it's going down, I must be losing fat. And that may or may not be true. You could have lost a little bit of water weight. The worst thing that can happen is you lose lean muscle, but you could also be losing body fat. So if weight loss does not equal fat loss, what should you be using to measure success when it comes to fat loss? So here's the thing, just like your normal everyday person like you and I, we don't have access to the best tools for measuring body fat. So there are some things that you can use out there. One of them being like a bioelectric impedance device, like a handheld device. No, they're not terribly accurate, but if your conditions are consistent, then the number that you get will be consistent. So you can kind of use it to see if things are trending in the right direction. We've also have these smart scales, but they also suffer from the same thing. They're not terribly accurate. But again, if you see the number decreasing, your body fat percentage decreasing, then that's a likely sign that you're on the right track. But in my opinion, the best measure for success when it comes to body fat is literally what you see. Now, as I mentioned, if you're holding on to a lot of body fat, then you're not going to be able to see a visible difference right away. So you can use circumference measurements. Is your stomach getting smaller? Are your arms getting smaller? Are your legs getting smaller? Get a piece of measuring tape and you can actually like measure that and do that week to week. But at a certain point, you can actually see a reduction in body fat, more definition in your body simply by comparing pictures. And again, like I mentioned with the bioimpedance or any of those methods for measuring your body fat, as long as the conditions are consistent, especially with your pictures, meaning the lighting, the time of day, when you took the pictures, did you take a shit before or after? You know what I mean? Like, if these things are consistent, then you can expect that from week to week, you're either going to see progress or you're not. And so if you are seeing that progress, if you are seeing a reduction in body fat, then that is a sign that you're moving in the right direction. If you're not seeing that, then that is a sign that you need to make some adjustments. But the scale is not the best way to measure a reduction in body fat. Rule number 2, it starts with food. So now that you know how to measure success, where do you start? It starts with your nutrition. The first thing you want to understand is that calories are energy. Burn that into your head right now. Calories that you bring into your body it's like gasoline for your car, right? Like, it fuels movement. Now, body fat is stored energy. And so you may have heard this before. If you want to lose fat, if you want to lose weight, get in a calorie deficit. And a lot of people just think that means, let's eat less. And if you are overeating, then yes, it could mean eating less. But the main point is that you want to condition your body to burn more energy than you consume, because to make up that difference, it's going to draw from stored fat. So using nutrition, you want to make sure that you're not bringing in more calories than your body needs in order to sustain its current state. And that is simply what a calorie deficit is. It's saying if your body needs this amount of calories to do everything that you do throughout your day, and we're talking about your training, but we're also just talking about existing, like your basal metabolic rate, just breathing. Just if you were to lay down, how many calories is your body expending on a daily basis? If you consume less calories than that, as I mentioned, to make up that difference, your body is going to draw from stored fat. So the key is to find out how many calories your body needs in order to sustain itself. So that's known as your total daily energy expenditure, your TDEE. You could go right now to Google. I actually put some resources down in the description that will help you. You can literally type in your information and it'll spit out a number that represents how many calories your body needs in order to sustain itself and perform its day-to-day activities. Now, you want to measure your food. You want to track your food. You can be as precise as you want to be, or you can eyeball it. The more precise you are, the less trial and error you have. If you don't want to track your food, if you don't want to use something like MyFitnessPal to track, which I recommend you do, at least on the front end, so you can get a feel for it, so you know what it feels like to eat that way. If you don't want to do that, then eyeball your food. And if you're not losing fat right now, then you know you need to eat less. Now, that's as simple as it gets. If you know that your body needs this many calories, your daily goal should be at least this many calories. I don't recommend going into a severe calorie deficit to the point where you're starving yourself, because then your body is going to condition itself to use less energy because it's going into some sort of panic mode because you're not presenting the energy that it needs. Now, this is not going to happen right away. If you fast for a day, your body's just going to be like, all right, whatever. But if you are severely under eating at a certain point, your body is going to adapt to what you're bringing in, and it's going to slow down metabolic function. You're going to feel lethargic. You're not going to have the energy present in order to perform day-to-day activities. You're going to be tired all the time because you're not eating enough. So don't fall for that trap. You want to make sure that whatever your TDEE says, at the most, you're going to go into a 500 calorie deficit at the most. But I recommend sticking to around 200 to 300 calories in a deficit. Now let's talk about the makeup of every meal. I could tell you what to eat, but it'll be a lot easier for me to tell you what to avoid. Keep it very simple. You want to avoid processed foods. You want to avoid a whole bunch of sugary snacks. You want to avoid foods that are high in calories but low in nutrients. And in fact, you want to stick to a diet that consists of high quality protein, a shit ton of veggies, and moderately portioned carbohydrates. And remember, the carbohydrates, you don't want processed carbs. You don't want a whole bunch of sugar. You want to keep it moderate. Rule number 3, you have to train hard. As I mentioned before, you want to condition your body to use as much energy as possible on a daily basis. This is how you're going to create a bigger calorie deficit without having to starve yourself, is that you condition your body to burn more calories on a daily basis. And one of the best ways to do that is add more muscle to your body. This is why you need to train hard. This is why you need to know the difference between exercise and training. Exercise is movement. It's more movement than you're used to doing in your day. Everybody should be exercising. That should be the bare minimum of your life. You should be exercising. You should be walking. You should be counting your steps. You should be doing some sort of physical activity. But training is specific movement for a specific goal and to create a specific result. And in this case, the specific result we're trying to create is building more muscle, because the more muscle you have, the more energy it's going to take to maintain that. And the more energy that you're using, it raises your total daily energy expenditure, which allows you to burn more fat. And remember, to get lean, to have that lean physique, all we're talking about is an increase in muscle and a decrease in body fat. So you need to be training. Now, how you train is completely up to you. I have a preferred method that I use. Strength training. We are strength training through compound movements. You see a lot of people that are bodybuilders that do isolation movements and focus on developing individual muscles. If that's what you want to do, then you can do that. That takes forever. Go watch Arnold Schwarzenegger and them in what's the movie that he did? Pumping Iron, okay? Or we can get with the times right now. Close the amount of time that we're actually spending in the gym by utilizing compound movements, lifting heavy, and progressing. Multiple muscles, multiple joints through a full range of motion, short sets with power. That's the way that we do. I have 8 core movements that I focus my training around. If you want access to my training program, just let me know in the comments. I'll tell you everything, how we get down. I even make a video in the future here that breaks down the exact way that I train to get the results that I've not only gotten to experience, that I've helped hundreds of clients get as well. It makes sure that you don't spend hours in the gym. You feel like you did something and you're training like an athlete, not a bodybuilder. But the point is, you need to be training and you need to train hard. You need to push yourself when you're in that gym. You should be getting about this close to failure. When you're under that bar, when you're lifting that weight, those last couple of reps, you should be making an ugly face, like, because you're pushing so hard. Now you want to do it safely and you want to make sure that you're utilizing proper form, but you still want to make sure that you're giving it maximum effort. When you're in the gym, you train hard. That's a law. Rule number 4. Protein is king. Going along with nutrition, going along with training, you need to make sure that you are eating a high protein diet. Protein has so many benefits when it comes to fat loss. Number 1, the thermic effect of protein, as we talked about, your goal is just to increase how much energy you're expending on a daily basis. And by having a high protein diet, it takes more energy for your body to digest and break down and metabolize protein, that it's so beneficial for fat loss. It just, again, it increases the thermic effect of food, is part of your total daily energy expenditure, and it increases the amount of calories you're using on a daily basis. But on top of that, protein is the building block of lean muscle. And what was the last rule? We train hard with the goal of building muscle. So to accompany that rule, to accompany that goal, you want to bring in more protein. So the simple rule of thumb, what they say, about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, that works if you are close to where you should be. But if you're severely overweight, if you're 400 pounds, you don't need to bring in 400 grams of protein. That's ridiculous, and that's counterproductive to your goal of weight loss, of losing fat. But what you do want to do is think about your ideal weight. Think about the weight that you want to hit, and you should bring in 1 gram of protein per pound of that body weight. And if you're close to your body weight, then you can stick to 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And you want to keep it simple, right? The best sources of protein are going to be beef, all right, chicken, salmon, and just have a rotation of these. Eggs, if you like pork on your fork, that's pretty good too. You need protein. Protein is king. I always say, when you hit a plateau and you're not seeing those changes in your body that you want to see, even if you're not seeing the weight go down the way that you want it to go down, increasing your calories, specifically increasing the amount of protein that you're bringing in, can actually trigger more weight loss, because, like I said, it takes more energy for your body to process the protein that you're bringing in, which, while it might be an increase in calories that you're bringing in, it's also increasing the calories that you're expending, but it's allowing that muscle to be formed. And having that lean muscle on your body is exactly what you need to create a lean physique and reduce that body fat. And then finally, rule number 5, you need to live a fat-free lifestyle. What does that mean? We took care of everything that we needed to do in the gym. We took care of everything we needed to do in the kitchen. But now, what are we doing outside of all of that? Well, first and foremost, you need to prioritize rest. For a lot of us, I'm guilty of this shit myself. We check all the boxes. We're training hard, right? We're watching our nutrition, but we get shit quality sleep. We're not sleeping enough for enough time to allow our bodies to properly do what it needs to do so that it can burn fat efficiently, so that your metabolic processes are working as they should be, so your cognitive processes are working how they should be. So I would love to say everybody get 8 hours of sleep, but let's be realistic. Like who does that? I say 6 to 8 hours of sleep, but think about how you function. I function very well off of 6 hours of sleep. I don't function very well off of 8 hours of sleep. That's just me personally. So I strive to get about 6 hours of sleep per night. And on the nights where I don't, I feel it. I don't perform that well in the gym. I don't feel that great. My energy levels are low. Hell, my morale is down if I don't get the right amount of sleep. Prioritize sleep. Next thing, drink water. Plenty of water, okay? Make that your go-to for every... Look at this shit right here. I got water. You drink water. And plenty of it. Absolutely, yes, drink your water, but do not drink your calories, specifically alcohol. If you want to be smart about this shit, cut the alcohol completely out. You do not need to be drinking. If your goal... Let me ask you that, like, how many people do you see say that they have a goal and then start doing all type of things that are counterproductive to that goal? How is that actually your goal? If your goal is to get in shape, if your goal is to get physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like to the highest level, alcohol plays no role in that, all right? And you're drinking your calories. If you want to have a casual drink here and there, that's your prerogative. You're going to deal with what comes with that, okay? But not only is it liquid calories, but for a lot of people, the decisions and choices that you make when inebriated go completely against the goal of creating the best body that you can. And then we could talk about the mental things about alcohol consumption too, but we'll save that for another video. But that's part of a fat-free lifestyle. Trim the fat, trim the BS, all right? Next thing you need to do is make sure that your stress levels are low. And if that means you have to audit your circle and start to disconnect yourself from people who do not have the same type of vision for themselves, and you got people in your life that are actually pulling you away from your best self, that wants you to come out and kick it, and wants you to come out and smoke, and wants you to come out and do things that are just totally counterproductive to the life that you're trying to create. You got to trim that fat, and that will help keep your stress levels low. A fat-free life is chill, bro. Like you don't have all of that nonsense going on in your life. Another way that you can reduce the stress that you're dealing with on a daily basis is disconnect from social media for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be connected to everything all the time. All right. If you can take care of these things outside of the gym, put yourself in a positive mood all the time. Keep your eyes focused on the good things in life. Exercise gratitude. That is how you're going to attract the great things in your life. And putting yourself in this peaceful, this happy mental state while also nourishing your body and feeling good physically is how you live an amazing life. You will attract literally everything you want. And it starts with taking care of your physical, which then seeps into your mental, which then molds your emotional. Do what you want to do with your spiritual. And when you're operating on firing on all cylinders, your professional is going to take off through the roof. I just laid out the 5 immutable laws of fat loss. If you apply these to your life every day, I'm talking about watch your caloric intake. I'm talking about train hard. I'm talking about prioritizing protein. I'm talking about taking your eyes off the scale and be really focused on improving your physique, seeing the more the definition come into your body, you know what I'm saying? And then you make sure that you are living a peaceful, fat-free life. And you do this every day. You make this part of who you are. You will look up in 3 months, in 6 months, 9 months. This time next year, you'll be untouchable. You'll be in God mode. Nobody can mess with you. You know what I'm saying? But you don't even worry about that because you are taking every single step that you need to be. See, this is more than just beach body shit, man. This is improving the quality of your life. This is ascension. All right. And it starts with this reduction and this visceral body fat that is doing more harm than good to you. No, you're not going to get to 10% body fat, below 10% body fat. You don't need to. That's not sustainable for most people. But what you are going to do is reduce the amount of body fat that you're carrying. All right. And you're going to do so by treating your body like a luxury vehicle, because it is. Now, if you want help with this, you can reach out to me personally. I'll leave some resources in the description, ways that you could get a hold of me. If you want to apply for one-on-one coaching, listen, I've helped hundreds of people get these same results that I'm talking to you right now. I'm one of them. I was able to do that for myself, and I'm able to maintain it for years on end. I don't do anything crazy. All right? I'm not on any crazy restrictive diet. I've just adjusted my lifestyle according to these 5 immutable laws, and I've reaped the results, and I want that for you. So if you want that type of help, you can look in there. But in the meantime, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, like this video, drop any questions you have in the comments, because I love to, as you can see, I love to talk about this shit. I'm fucking sweating over here. I'm getting so hyped about helping you get in the best physical and mental shape of your life. And until next time, I want you to keep your eyes on the vision and your mind on the grind. Let's go.